I'm Tim, and welcome to Watch You On. Thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at a stainless steel variant of the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Ultra Thin Reserve de Marche. Now, a few days ago, I looked at an RDM in rose gold with an eggshell dial. This is a different look. It's the same case size, the same movement. In many ways, it is the same watch, but it has an entirely different character to it, because the watch we're looking at is in stainless steel and features a silvered dial. For that reason, especially when combined with this black alligator strap, this might be the slightly more versatile watch. Now, while you can certainly wear a rose gold watch as your daily companion, it's a little more difficult to pull off informal attire with a gold watch with an eggshell ecru dial than it is to pull off a stainless steel watch with a silvered dial. Granted, I'm not sure this is one to wear with a tank top, but this is a far more, I would say, versatile look. It can still pull off the dress, it can still pull off the tux, but again, steel has a different character to it. It comes across as a little bit more casual, a little bit more wearable when your shirt sleeves and your pant cuffs are short. It's more of a summertime look. It's more of an informal, fun look, and it has a light-hearted characteristic to it that only steel and a silver dial can impart. So I want to talk a little bit about the Master Ultra Thin generally, having given sort of my view on where this one stands within the Master Ultra Thin line as the more dress and casual two-way player. I want to talk a little bit about the basic watch. Now, the Reserve de Marche is a concept that JLC pioneered in the modern era. The idea of having a power reserve on an automatic watch was their innovation in 1948 with the caliber 481. It was something that they brought to market and that they've developed continuously since really the 1940s, and since the 1990s there has been an automatic winding power reserve watch in the lineup continuously. In 2012 at the Salon International in Geneva, this reference, the Master Ultra Thin Reserve de Marche, debuted, and it made some key changes relative to the previous reference. For one thing, it's definitely more petite. It's both thinner and more graceful. 39 millimeters instead of 40 or 41.5 as previously. This one is only 9.9 millimeters thick, so it earns the moniker ultra thin. Now, the caliber 938 movement inside it is only 4.9 millimeters thick. That's despite having a radial date, a power reserve, small seconds, and an automatic winding mechanism. So JLC, which is really the arch manufacturer and the watchmaker to kings, knows how to take a relatively complicated watch and package it efficiently. And you can't talk about an ultra-thin watch without doing a wrist shot. And talking a little bit about the wrist. Now, my wrist is 6 1/3 inches, that's 16 centimeters. This watch sits very flat. This is the epitome of an easy-to-wear, forget you're wearing it type of watch. Not just because of the thickness of the case or the lightness of the case, but because JLC really did its homework with the shape of those lugs. They barely project beyond the extremity of the case curvature, and you can see that best from this angle. The lugs barely exceed the length of or the diameter, I should say, of the case itself. So this one sits very flat to the wrist, and it gives you a good amount of clearance between the edge of your wrist and the end of the lugs. This isn't one that's going to feel like it's going to hula hoop or overlap. It sits very flat, fits beautifully, and because it is a 39 millimeter and fairly flat, because it does have that seamless flow of a white metal into a white metal dial, it reads visually as much larger than 39 millimeters. So it has that modern wrist presence that people weaned on sports watches really demand. No one wants to have a petite watch these days, even in the dress sector. Granted, you don't want to wear a giant thing that becomes a caricature of luxury watchmaking, but you do want to have something that reads as a contemporary totem of prestige. I'm gonna admit it. We wear these watches largely because we enjoy the premium product, and they should look the part. And the Master Ultra Thin Reserve de Marche really pulls that off. And I want to add part of the secret of this watch. It wears as thin as it does because this gorgeous Camille Fournier alligator leather strap is completely unbolstered. On the wrist, this thing is very supple and very thin. Really, true to its name, ultra thin, that goes for the case itself and the strap attached to it. Sometimes the wrong strap can completely spoil the character of a watch, and with an ultra thin, look and feel are of paramount importance. This is not a sports watch that has to survive getting knocked against a reef. This is a watch that has to look and feel elegant. It has to slip underneath long sleeves and dress cuffs, and it has to feel gossamer on the skin. This really does. The strap, the lugs, the case, it's a total package that really feels like it was designed all of a piece. JLC hit this one out of the park. Now you can see, despite being white hands, white indexes, white metal case, white dial, this is a very legible piece, and I think that's one of the great triumphs of this design, along with the ergonomics. This watch is incredibly practical and usable, despite the fact that that combination of white metal should create a blinding, undifferentiated flash, and in the hands of less skilled watchmakers than JLC, that might have been the case. But really, for once, I'm going to say the iPhone does not lie. You can see what time it is. You can see where you stand on the 42-hour power reserve. You can read the date. The combination of the faceted white gold applied indexes, the faceted white gold Dauphine hands, and the heat-blued subdial indicators creates tremendous contrast, really articulates this dial as broad and flat as it is. This could have seemed a little bit monotonous and monotone and undifferentiated, again, in the hands of a less subtle, experienced watchmaker. JLC is haut de gamme, top of the line. The same designers and engineers who are putting this together, the same stylists, are the ones who are doing the Gyro Tourbillon series, the Ibris Artistica, the Ibris Mechanica. They're the ones who are designing the high complications, the real exotics. And you get that same degree of attention to detail, and that's the wonderful thing about JLC. They are the arch manufacturer. That's why in the past, Patek Philippe, Cartier, Audemars Piguet, Vacheron have gone to them for their savoir-faire. But you don't have to pay a certain price beyond getting into the JLC catalog to benefit from that experience. Even the entry-level models, on page 1, you don't have to turn to the six-figure watches, you don't have to buy a piece unique, you get that same level of quality in the rank-and-file Master Control watches. And the Master Control, that quality assurance system based on 1,000 hours of continuous testing, that's now standard since 2003 in every JLC watch. The caliber 938 here is tested to a standard unlike any other in the watchmaking industry. 42 days of continuous testing in 6 positions at multiple temperatures against shock, tested for power reserve, tested for isochronism, tested fully cased up, not as a bare movement, but as a complete watch, and it has all the modern standards, basically what you would expect in any modern watch, from ceramic rotor bearings to automatic winding. And JLC adds its own little innovation with unidirectional winding here. They found it to be more efficient, essentially. They take that tradition that dates back to 1948 of having an automatic power reserve watch with a manufacturer movement, and they add those standards, and they add a standard of finish that is outstanding for the price class. Now you get this 21 karat rotor gold weight on the winding rotor, but you also get circular Cote de Genève on the rotor and echoed on the plates. You get beautiful cobalt heat-blued screws. The anglage is nicely done to remove all the birth scars from the edges of the plates and the levers. There's straight graining on the levers, there's radial graining on the wheels. There's great attention to detail here, and that continues on and around the escapement mechanism. I can only show you so much on the iPhone, but I guarantee you, if you take a look at the photos on our website, watchyouwant.com, you'll be very pleased with what you see. Again, this is a modern movement, 273 pieces, 41 jewels, ceramic maintenance-free rotor bearings, and a standard of finish that's outstanding for the price. And for that price, like I said, you're getting the combined design and engineering knowledge that comes from a company that's operated continuously as the watchmaker to kings and other watchmakers since 1833. So check out this versatile, very wearable, highly enjoyable, and 100% complete Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Ultra Thin Reserve de Marche on our website, Watch You Want. If you're looking for the do-it-all watch, I'm confident this JLC Master Ultra Thin Reserve de Marche will be the watch you want.